We love her, and we are so lucky to have her as our mom. And I know that I feel very fortunate when I'm not taking this for granted, if I'm being completely honest. And I would just want her to look back and know that she was a great mom, or is a great mom. And you can tell that she cares and she loves us. And yeah, she'll always be there for us. And I just want her to remember that she just did like a really good job raising us.
I'm your host, Tiffany Sauder, and this is Scared Confident. In this episode, I'm giving you a glimpse into the Sauder home because I get lots of questions about how do you do it? What's it like to have 4 kids and a 2-career home? And so I figured, why don't you guys just hear from them? So as you listen, you're going to hear from my oldest, Aubrey, who's 12, Ainsley, who's 10, Ivy is 6, she's in kindergarten, and then Quincy. You won't hear from her directly because she's only 1, but you'll certainly get the big girl's take on the role Quincy plays in our house.
I'm the oldest.
Ainsley's the second oldest.
I'm the second oldest.
And I'm the third oldest.
And Quincy's the baby.
Now that you've heard who's who, I'll let them share what they think about their lives while sharing some practical tips, insights into how we run our day-to-day and get it all done. But I hope that you'll also hear that we have a lot of fun too. It's not just about running the home like a business, though there's certainly a lot of cues I've taken from how I run my businesses into how I run my home, but it's also about relationship and fun.
I feel like things are always moving. Like after this, I have swim practice. And then after swim practice, I eat dinner late. And then tomorrow, Ainsley's student council in the morning. I have choir in the morning. And then swim practice again after school.
I go to school.
I have volleyball practice. It's just like we're always busy. It just seems like it's always very consistent. But it also feels like that usually we have a schedule and we have a plan. Not saying our mom is the most organized person in the world, but usually she has things under control.
I feel like my mom remembers the important things.
I second that opinion.
How she loves us and how much she cares about us.
Like she normally has everyone's schedules down. We have 17 calendars, it feels like, where everything is.
Since our mom does a podcast and she owns her business and she just bought a new one, it just seems like, there's always new news. It's just it keeps going.
And then our dad travels a lot too, so that makes it hard sometimes to get to all the things.
And also, we have girls' nights when Daddy is gone. So that's also fun.
So as a recap for what's going on the regular in our house, so I work full-time. I go to the office really, I would say 4 or 5 days a week. So while there's a lot of flexibility that's stuck in our home as a result of COVID, I work better when I have separation. And so I do go into the office most of the time. My husband, JR, has a big job, and right now he travels, I would say 30 to 50% of the time on any given month. And so the exit and re-entry of Dad is certainly something that is a constant part of our home right now. And as it relates to the girls' extracurricular activities, the older 2 are in one sport each. And then they're also involved in usually some type of musical thing too, like show choir or something like that at school. So they're in stuff, but they are not scheduled to the max. In part because of my husband and I's schedules, we have really cool things that they get to do as a result of the things that we've gotten to do. And some of that is outside of the confines of school extracurricular activities. And we do extracurriculars as a family.
Honestly, we definitely don't have it hard. Compared to other kids' lives, we definitely have it the easy way. And I feel like we take that for granted a lot. And I feel like how it'll impact my future is it'll just remind me how important spending time with your kids is, and just how our parents role model that, how they love us, and how when we know that they'll never abandon us, and how they just care.
I think that it's kind of just we'll get through it because like when my dad travels for a long time, like he comes back. So it's just kind of like step by step.
When our dad goes on a trip for a long time, I miss him very much.
We all do. Well, I feel like even they just like respect our ideas, which I mean, it just feels good as a kid because you know that you don't have as much like power as they do. And I mean, even when they just like put us to bed at night, like just spending like that, like 5 minutes with us just makes us know like if our parents weren't that loving, then like they wouldn't do that. And we wouldn't be able to like hold on to those memories, like hold on to all the quality times. And even though our like dad travels and sometimes they're like, super busy because they have to go like out for a night, like we manage.
Our dad also tries to make time for us. Once a month, he tries to take us out to breakfast, like individually, Ainsley and I. So that's fun. And when my dad is traveling, sometimes we get to spend one-on-one time with my mom too. So
They also like our parents come to our sporting events. So like my volleyball tournaments, Aubrey's swimming, swim meets,
And my tennis.
I view whatever sport she's doing at the time. So they just like they care about our activities and they don't think it's like, wow, we're just paying for this and our kids aren't learning anything. Like I know that my dad, he'll go out with me and he'll practice. Like we will hit against the garage door for volleyball, and whenever we like go to a pool, then he'll work with Aubrey to like beat her time for swimming laps. And our dad's like, he is an athlete for sure, but it just like helps us because I know that again, if they didn't care that much, then like they wouldn't spend that quality time with us.
It's not every weekend, but Friday nights are pretty sacred family time. JR and I are both usually pretty spent from getting through the week, and the girls are ready for our like undivided attention. So Friday night is usually dinner as a family out somewhere. We like to take them places that are nice. It like expands their like palette and gives them fun experiences. And also I think it's just good for kids to like need to behave and like go to nice restaurants and learn the like decorum that is that. And so that's definitely part of our family culture. I also love to cook, especially when JR is home. We really sit as a family, like with dinner, like plates on the table, the girls set the table and like we eat like humans. And so when he's gone, sometimes it can be more of a stand-up short order cook, like I'm just slinging food across the island. But when he's here, we really do sit as a family. It's a great time for us to connect, just like with eyeballs, like actually sit and look and put the devices away and spend time together. And then I also, bedtime, I'm real intentional about. That is a time when I connect with each of the girls individually and I like put them to bed in reverse birth order and sit usually with each of them 3 to 10 minutes. And it gives them individually a chance to like, I can kind of check their hearts and their attitudes. We make sure that everybody's clear on what's going on the next day. If there's any changes to regular, I have found they do much better when they have a sense of like expectation and anticipation that that's going to happen. And so they're not as caught off guard. And so then everybody wakes up the next morning and we're all on the same page. So those are ways that we are intentionally together as a family.
We are so lucky to have her as our mom. And I know that I feel very fortunate when I'm not taking this for granted, if I'm being completely honest. And I would just want her to look back and know that she was a great mom, or is a great mom. And you can tell that she cares and she loves us. And
She'll always be a great mom.
yeah, she'll always be there for us. And I just want her to remember that she just did like a really good job raising us. I mean, who knows how Quincy's gonna turn out, but so far, she's done pretty good.
I think that our mom is really hardworking, and I don't know how to describe it. She's just always like there, but she's also always like she's a good multitasker.
She's always there.
She's working and making time for us at the same time.
She's like definitely preparing us for all of that and all the things that are going to be in our future and are going to come ahead, and just all the challenges that we might face, and just, you know, like going out into the real world once we get older and are like on our own. just preparing us for that.
My mom is also really supportive of everything that we want to do. Like Ainsley's changed sports 7,000 times, it feels like.
Yep.
She has.
So lots of things. And my mom is always very supportive of whatever she wants to do, and of my swimming. She's always proud of me when I get like a goal, and with school she always tries to help with homework when she can if we're stuck, and little things she helps a lot with.
This is probably the cheesiest thing that we're going to say on this podcast episode, or maybe that has ever been said in a podcast, but she helps us chase our dreams. Like, she's, like Aubrey said, she's supportive of everything that we do. She's definitely going to help us get after whatever we decide to do, like even in college and high school, like what we're going to be when we grow up. I'm hoping that I will take after my mom. And, like, she's working, and I will be a hardworking girl just like she is. I don't know. I feel like she's told us stories of how difficult it was to start her business. And I feel like when we get older, we're definitely going to have to face some challenges if we would decide to become entrepreneurs. Because she was just telling us, like, all the difficulties, but now here she is, and she's, like, being very successful.
Yeah, I just think it's cool to think that like my mom can achieve so many things, and it definitely makes me want to go achieve things too.
As a working mom, I've always wondered what my kids will say about that experience. And I think because I was raised by a stay-at-home mom, I have just a particular interest in what is that going to change for them, because it's going to be different from my own. And so to hear that the girls feel our intentionality, I think is really, it's just really rewarding. I think I also know that, you know, the work is so not done with them. And I mean that in like the best way. But to hear the security that they feel in their voice, I think it makes me feel really warm. It makes me feel like the days where you don't want to, where you just want to be dismissive of those small moments with them, that it's really worth fighting for the energy to do that. And, you know, I think JR and I we have a huge life, and we work to involve the girls in our lives so that it's not like we go do adult things and they do kid things, that we want to enjoy their kid things with them and we want them to enjoy our adult things with us. And I think we both just have expanded experiences because of that. And I think I also hear that just like integration in their words of they hear and feel JR playing with them and helping them get better. And yet we also, bring them into our stuff that we're doing. And so it just like, it makes me feel really good. And it just makes me feel really grateful for these kids.
So sometimes with our mom and dad and Quincy, because Quincy loves to be outside, we'll go on walks. We have just like a really long driveway, and we have like a gate into our neighborhood. So we will just take walks to like the gate and back, and that's like almost a half a mile. So we'll just walk there and back, not super long. Yeah. And then our parents will ask, like, scale of 1 to 10, how has your day been? How's the week going? And normally when we are, like, scale of 1 to 10, and then let's say we said 6, then they'll be like, why wasn't it an 8? And then we'll kind of talk about it.
And then if they've had a similar experience to that, then they'll give us advice and really just help us. Like, if we're having ongoing problems, like I've had friends and like kind of friend drama, like friend group drama, and my mom was just like giving me like constant advice, which you think would be annoying, but it was like the best thing that she could do. I feel like I'm saying this so much, but it just lets us know that they care.
Yeah, just taking time out of their day for us means a lot.
Yeah, it just...
And taking time off of their phones is a lot.
Like just the little things matter a lot.
I think when JR and I think about parenting, it's like I really want them to enjoy being kids, but I don't want them to miss that they are practicing who they are becoming as adults. And so it's important, I think, as parents, we not lose sight of the fact that we are preparing them for life because we're going to be grown-ups like 80 years and we're kids like 15, And so I want them to be kids. I want them to experience a lot. I want them to have fun. I want them to laugh. But I also want all those things for them as adults too, that they don't leave those things as children, what's possible for them individually. But I also want them to know that if this is not what they're called to do, that I'm equally as proud of them. It doesn't have to look like achievement in the way that, in the path that I have taken. And so I never want that to be an inferred implication of what it means to have me as a mom. That if they choose something really different, that also can be wildly successful. So I think I'm just thoughtful about that. I don't know that I put that pressure on them, but I think it could somehow be something that becomes inferred of their lives, that they chase a similar path that I have.
Every now and then when it's been like a busy week, we'll play a game at dinner we call it high-low. So we say the best part of our day and the worst part of our day, just to kind of get a feel for how everyone's going.
And usually our parents either like give us advice or give us input on like our lowest part, or like congratulate us if our highest point was like, hey, I got an A on my math test. Then they'll definitely like congratulate
Which happened to
us.
Ainsley.
Yeah, they'll congratulate us, and they're like, you can tell that they care because they care about grades. Like they care, but they're not helicopter parents.
And they care about if I filled out my joy jar at school.
Kindergarten. I just feel like in general they are very supportive parents. Like they're always looking out for us and helping us, and I don't know, I feel like my dad is like my best coach and my mom is just like the best at advice. She's also a really good cook. So
Mom is a good
all.
cheerleader at things too.
Not like backflip cheerleader, but like clapping cheerleader.
Things definitely don't always stay on track. The girls are painting a bit of a rosy picture for you all, but I've learned that when they go off track, to not exclude them from that part of the process too, because they all can have a hand in helping us get things back together as a family.
We normally are able to kind of get the train back on the rails. Yeah.
It just feels really disorganized. It feels like really overwhelming, and I get anxious because I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing right now? Usually, honestly, I hate to blame it on her, but usually it's Quincy because, like, we haven't really put her on a schedule, even though she's one. Yeah. She's one now. It's, she's just not very, like, you're not able to guess what she's going to do the next day.
She's one, and she only knows how to take one step.
How we kind of try not to make sure everything happens is my mom will put everything on like the family calendar, and then also at night on like Sundays my mom will go over the week with us. So my dad's trips we kind of know about, so we aren't just like surprised when we wake up and he's gone. And then we know like if swim practice got canceled or if we have like a volleyball tournament on Saturday, things like that.
I feel like just genuinely we've been really busy on the weekends, and our parents have done a really good job like telling us what's coming up.
I mean, when we're way off track, I usually will just call like a family timeout. The other thing is I often will look at what in the next 48 hours do I want to do but don't have to, and I'm going to cancel something so that I get some margin back, because I probably am kind of like rolling down the hill too fast and I need some margin and I didn't leave any. So that's another thing I'll do is look at what can I cancel or postpone so that I can get myself back together. Or now that my 12 and 10-year-old, they're super capable, I'll just like call a timeout and be like, guys, we're off. I get it. Here's a list. If all of us do 20 minutes of work, that's an hour of progress. We're going to do that 2 times. Here's your list, and here's my list, because we are a wreck right now. I know it. You feel it. Let's get back together. If we can get this stuff done, then we'll be back. That is also a thing that I'll do, is just bring them into it and say like, I just need your help right now. And so that's just a reality of it, and that's fine. And then I honestly like Sam, who you'll hear on the podcast sometimes, like she is totally a flywheel for me too. When I'm just like stuck or there's like a piece of poster board I need to go get from God knows where because of a stupid school project, or like 6 muffins. Like those are the things that just are like printed family picture. Those are the things that just send me straight over the edge. And so having somebody who will just help me out of those jams, they're like so meaningful for the kids, and I just couldn't care less about it. So that is like definitely a hack that helps me get unstuck and like the stuff that just like is out of the ordinary that becomes really difficult, I think, for working moms to get it done. I remember I had this epiphany that it can be easy as an adult to look at kids as just kids and not to like recognize that they like need to understand what's happening next. And so when I got that they aren't just like kids to be shuttled around, but that I needed to communicate to them kind of so they could help me too know what was happening. Because if I'm running around like a maniac and they're moving slow, it's easy as a parent to be like, what? Like, just like, rah, like boss them through the house and boss them through the motions. But when they don't understand that, like, hey, we need to be in the car backing out at 10:10. That's like the game plan we're working towards. Then they can like pick their own motor speed and you're not pushing them, like prodding them around the house. So that was like a huge aha for me, that the kids were not just these people I was trying to push around. But when I brought them into an understanding of like what the week was going to look like, what the evenings were going to feel like, if we were going to eat dinner as a family, if we were going to get takeout, how the girls can help me prep vegetables, on the weekends so that we can have healthy dinners faster, those types of things, it started to include everybody in the plan. And it felt like there was so much less pressure on me to not only manage my own energy and focus, but I didn't have to do that for everybody else in the moment. So I kind of look at the day in 3 parts. The morning is like everybody gets up. I like kind of recap for them, like, here's what's happening. It is important to me that the kids, as much as we can, leave like feeling like a smile, because it might be the last great part of their day. I don't have control over what's happening at school. And so I try to remove stress from the morning so that they feel like, I got a hug from mom, like, high five, guys, go crush it. Like my mom used to always say, do something nice for somebody who needs it today. So it's like, I want that to be a positive energy moment in our household. Then we go our separate ways. They're at school, I'm at work, Jared's doing his thing, the baby's with the nanny. And I don't really, outside of if they have appointments or something, I don't like interact with them. I'm expecting that they're doing their thing. And then segment 3 is the evening and when we come back together. Everybody kind of has their own individual on-ramp back into the home. If you have kids who go to school, you know this. Ivy needs to just decompress. Her 6-year-old self is exhausted from instruction all day. And so she needs like half hour to just like watch some Paw Patrol and eat some salty snacks. Aubrey, my oldest, she needs to do her homework right away or she can't relax. And so she goes right to her room and starts pounding out like the hardest math problems in the world. She does not need to decompress. And then Ainsley has got 1,000 words she needs to say. She's social and she just has blah, blah, blah. They just need to all come out to somebody. And so I've learned everybody's got a different on-ramp, and I'm not always home for that part of the day, but whoever's here kind of knows what needs to happen so that the girls can get kind of reacclimated to home. And then I get home usually around 5, and that is when the dinner practice kind of shuttling starts. And again, I will have recapped with them the night before so that they kind of have some expectation about how much time do I have to get my homework done is really the question that they're all asking. And then we get home and they might watch a little bit of TV. I'm not a big fan of weeknight television. Usually the schedule just gets kind of pregnated when that's the case. So we try not to do a lot of that. We pack lunches for the next day, wind down. They usually read in bed for a while. I do my reverse birth order, putting them to bed. And again, like kind of want to end the day the way that we started it, which is a touch in from my parent, a chance to be able to reflect or talk about what happened or is coming the next day, and a hug. And hopefully they feel really safe. In this season of life, I'm just a lot more intentional about making sure that I'm here at bedtime now that they're getting older than I was actually when they were younger.
Like will like always be a family?
We'll always stick together.
I want people to know listening, it's like there's still a lot of variability, but we do work to be intentional. Let's say of a set of 6 things we're intentional about, we maybe hit on 3 to 5 of those a week. You know what I mean? But we don't ever get all of them. And so that would be one. The other thing is like, we're also really vocal to our kids about the things that exist in our lives as a result of the choice JR and I have made for both of us to work. So we won't like say, here's how much it costs us to take you to Europe, but we'll let them know these are things that exist in your life because we all work together as a like team so that mom and dad can both have time to explore these really cool opportunities. Because I want them to know that there are some things that are harder, for sure, of being a kid with a 2-career parent and a 2-career household. But there's also some really cool things that we get to do for them as a result of us being a team and doing that. And so I want them to understand the correlation. And that's why I think it is important that when JR is traveling, that the girls have to step up and they do have to help me food prep and they do have to pack their own lunches that week, and they just have to help me. And that's because we want to do these really cool things together, and we want to be able to make sure that their college is paid for, and we want to make sure that, you know, they have even bigger opportunities to impact the world than what JR and I have. And so we're intentional about talking to them about that. We do believe a lot in financial literacy, and so we talk to them a lot about money, and I want them to understand that it isn't all effort, that there is reward. And as a family, we put towards effort, and as a family, there's times we experience reward. I think my encouragement to moms and dads listening is like, just, you know, there's a lot of scheduling and a lot of tools and all this kind of business. But at the end of the day, I think our kids just want us to experience them. And so if you're taking time, no matter how small it is, to just experience them, to get on their level, to lay on the floor, to be silly, to play a game, to do something, that's really what they want, is they want our time and engagement. And so give yourself a break and make it fun and be fun. And I think that's all our kids really want from us. If you want to use our little family's recipe for our dinner time check-in, text me at 317-350-8921, 317-350-8921. Just text me the word family, and I'll send you our little check-in, just a document, and hopefully it can help your family have deeper conversations about what's going on in one individual's lives.
I